Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going through the St Kilda versus Fremantle game. What an absolute stinker of a game this was. It was 27-7 at half time. There was 1 point in a 25 minute span, and then I think also you had another 6 or so minute span and maybe 8 minute span in the third quarter that had no score as well. So there was a solid 35 minutes with a singular point. And in the end, St Kilda run out winners by 10 goals, 61 points. I think I had Freo winning this game. So, yeah, that was definitely a horrific pick. St Kilda definitely look a side that can just annoy teams this year. And they definitely did, with Freo scoring 7 points in the first half. Second half, at least there was some scoring with, I think, 67 points to 26. So that's at least something. 93 odd points. That's yeah, at least something, but the first half was so bad. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's jump into it. So this one was a really bad game for fantasy, for at least my team, with having Sinclair and also Sarong both fail. And yeah, it just sucks because Sarong, everyone's going to jump on him next year. I don't know what exactly he's going to be. Let's just check with Sarong. He's averaging 88. He's going to be the #1 primo next year because he's gone, I think, back-to-back years of 100, 105, and now he's just gone and dropped through the floor with an 88. So he's going to be so obvious next year. If we just go to Sarong here, Caleb Sarong here, you'll see he's gone 108, 108, 104, and now 88. Obviously, it's early in the year and he can gain it back, but look at the marks just fall through the floor here. He hasn't had this type of marking in like ever. And the tackling as well is pretty much stock standard, maybe a little bit below. And then his disposals, he's down 2 kicks per game, which is like 6 points there. But it is the marks as well that are down dramatically on what was his best years. Yeah, you can see probably even upwards of 3, if not a little bit more. But also the marking as well, that gets you the 10, 15 points that he's down itself, right in those numbers there. So yeah, if he just needs to improve his kicks to handball ratio, and he'll be back at his best. But he's really struggling at the moment. And yeah, he really struggled to get on top of the likes of a Jack Steele. But Jack McRae was the shining light, 66-point last quarter for fantasy, and I'm pretty sure you'd find a similar number in SuperCoach, probably in the 70s. And yeah, 139, 160, 38 touches, 6 marks, 8 tackles, 25 contest possessions, and 14 clearances at 71% disposal efficiency, 82% TOG. He was fantastic for the Saints. As I try and get this right. There we go. That's good enough. For St Kilda. So yeah, he was outstanding for them, and will get the 3 votes you would expect in this game, as he was dominating. I think he had more clearances than the likes of Caleb Sarong and also Andrew Brayshaw, and more contested possessions than both of them. 18 contested possessions versus 25, and 9 clearances compared to 14. So he dominated, absolutely dominated. What a pickup he has been for St Kilda. I know that there is slow midfield and stuff, but their midfield absolutely dominated. And it was a really pathetic game from the likes of Sean Darcy. He got mauled in the ruck. If you actually look at it, just look at his if we look at the play stats here, and we look at the my stats, and we look at hit outs to advantage, look at this stat here. What was he doing? He's a big ruckman, yet he had a hit outs to advantage rating of 15.6%, and that on average, I think it's about what Rowan Marshall was, 28.9. But that is an absolute shocker that these 2 rucks single-handedly basically got beaten in the ruck. I know that they got more hit-outs, but hit-outs mean nothing. Hit-outs mean nothing. It is getting clearances and damaging clearances. And if you look at this and you go to AFL Home and you go to match stats, hopefully it will be updated, because I'd like to see this. If we look at this and we go stoppages, look at this stoppage domination. I don't think we've seen something like this. 53-14 alongside a centre bounce of 13-0 scoring. That is domination. So yeah, that is very, very intriguing that they just dominated. Simply put, absolutely dominated them and rightfully won. But I just want to see clearances 50-22. I'd love to see this broken down into quarters as well, just to see it. But yeah, that was huge from a St Kilda side. And yeah, they just dominated that game and rightfully won. And it was a really poor showing from Fremantle, especially just their ball use from some of their wingers and halfbacks. It was reminiscent for me as a Swans fan of watching the Swans this year, and their wingers getting way too much of it, but slowing the game down and not knowing what to do other than kick it long or butcher the ball. Wilkie had a really good game on Tracy. First time Tracy's been goalless for 29 games, I believe, but not going to be relevant, I don't think, in the long run for Fantasy or Supercoach. Jack Steele, that's an intriguing one just to see his price point, because he's definitely a guy that can find form quickly. If we go to Jack Steele, his 478k is probably going to stick around that marker, and it's gone 80, 106, 80, 46, and then 107. This 46 could actually really come into handy for those non-owners, because he could be a guy that just suddenly goes, he's gone 107, now he's going to go, what is that, 120? A 117. If he goes 117, 117 again, like if he goes, let's just put this, and I'm just going to go 117 here, just all round. If he goes 117, 117, 117, you can pick him up after, you can probably pick him up after Carlton, after a 107, 117, 117 in round 10 for 500k or so. And that'll be pretty much what, yeah, he'll be bottomed out and he'll be on the rise. And he could be a guy that is just so cheap that you can almost finish off your midfield with. The problem is that I just don't know if he can do top of the line stuff. He's gone 122, 126, 109, 95, and 108 in the past. He's just gone really lowly this year. So it'll be interesting if he can pick up form. He's definitely one to put on the watch list. Sharman, Wangani Malira, as I always say, is going to get you somewhere in that 90 to 110 region on pretty much both platforms. And that's the same. Definitely outdid the likes of Sinclair, who had a different role this week. Rowan Marshall, 91, 112. He did really well, just didn't finish his set shots. If he'd finished his set shots, he ends on like a 101, 130 probably. But he looks to be getting back into form, which is great. Hugo Garcia took the criticism and played a fantastic game. 19 touches, 10 tackles, 9 clangers. 42% is a little bit annoying, but there was a lot of free kicks. Hugh Boxall is a guy that I think everyone will be grabbing in fantasy this week. He's the obvious downgrade. I don't know what exactly his price is going to be. Let me just double check that for you guys. But I'd hazard a guess, given he beat his break even by 50, he's probably going to be 280k, just at a guess off the top of my head. But let's bring you guys the 74 here. And let's see, 270k on the dot. That was a pretty damn good guess. But yeah. He's going to be 270 between 265 and 275, I would give that range. And that'll be an easy one up, one down with the rookies that we've got that are pretty much maxed out in cash generation. Jack Sinclair saved his Supercoach score to a certain degree. He had 100% disposal efficiency. Would have really liked to have seen him just get another 5-10 touches. No heavy marking for him this week, which was kind of annoying. And so, yeah, I don't know who he has next week, but let's just hope he can turn it around, because he's in a bad patch for me. Only averaging, I think, something like, I want to say 96 for the team once I brought him in. So, yeah, not the greatest. And then we go, and then Travalia didn't get on, which is probably good for owners of him or people that were considering him. But yeah, would have liked him to have played just like a minute and gotten no score, because that 0 would have weighted down his average for the year and would have brought his price down. Luke Ryan, 98, 115. He had a really decent game for Fantasy and Supercoach, but it didn't matter in the end. He didn't actually impact the game. Matthew Johnson butchered the ball like there was no tomorrow. 7 clangers, 57% ball use, and that's why he's got such a negative split. Corey Wagner laid 16 tackles in the end. He got 4 away from the record of 20 from Roy Laird. He was on 15 with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. I thought he's a genuine chance here, but couldn't lay those last couple tackles to get it. Andrew Brayshaw, we always saw this coming. This is why you don't pick up guys at the height of their sort of their scoring, because yeah, this was always going to come, and now he's going to realistically drop down to 610. I think the projections were, or 607, with 2 115s back to back after this. Alex Pierce, 109. I think Brayshaw will be a guy that we pick up in round 11 or 12, as he'll swing it back around, but he might have a down game or two here and get back into those sort of low 600s, high 500s. Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson combo is just not working at the moment, so they need to rejig that. Caleb Sarong landed 3 or 4 tackles late on in the game to save his score in SuperCoach a little bit, but just couldn't get going. And yeah, his lowest disposal count in 5 years didn't help. But he's just got to find another gear to go to, because 4 kicks, 11 handballs, being handball happy, it just isn't good enough at this point, and he needs to be more dangerous. He needs to be getting out on those, even if it's just behind play, just to get 2 or 3 quick marks there to really get himself into the game, because he's gone quarters with like 2 to 3 touches and not really done anything. So will be interesting to see how that develops, but he's probably got to find another bow to his game, because he can't just be that sort of slow accumulator in the midfield anymore, because it's not damaging. And if they aren't getting enough touches, if they have these 15 possession games, they really do nothing. Cox, Clark, Dudley, Sharp, Draper, Warner, Frederick, you can just see why Freo aren't the best side. You've got, I mean, Bolton had an absolute shocker. Tracy had a shocker. Yes, and Young got injured. But you got Swiskowski, who's a labourer. He's a role player. He's going to do his job. But you got Quinton Narkle, who really isn't going to impact games too much. You've got Heath Chapman, who I don't really rate too highly, had 5 clangers as well. Frederick's an all right player, but he's hit or miss. You got Warner in there. You got Sharp, who I don't rate. Dudley had an all right game, but still I don't rate him too highly, had 8 tackles. That's already 5 or 6 guys that are there already in their best 22 that I'm like, I don't really rate too much. So it's all right to have 6, 7, 8 guys that are top end $1 million players. But if you don't have the 16 to 26 range of your list in the best shape, you're going to lose, because teams will target those guys. They will basically shut off your star players. And if your guys that are they basically said, we're going to shut down Brayshaw and Sarong, and you're going to have to go through Johnson and Sharp, and they just couldn't do that. They just couldn't do it, and that's one of the reasons why they lost, is because they didn't have the ball use in Johnson and Sharp that could actually break through. They were slow, lethargic, and it slowed the game down, and that's one of the reasons why they lost. Couldn't insert Bolton into the game. I don't know what he actually had for CBAs. I would be surprised if it was too high, as I don't think I saw him in the CBAs too much. But let's go to Freo here. Round 8, Shea Bolton, 26%. What is he doing? I don't get that. And the reason he had Matt Johnson in there, 57%. Yeah, I just do not get that. Caleb Sarong in there for 91% of it, and he still didn't impact Brayshaw. They were trying to use Luke Jackson in there as a on-baller at points. It was their midfield mess was crazy, and they even had Wagner in there and guys like that. It just was not. Why you're putting Wagner in there over Bolton is surprising, and I just don't get it. And his press conference was one of the worst that I've seen in a long time. But anyway, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got a little bit of insight into my thoughts on the sort of Freo and how they rank up and sort of their guys, and who to sort of look out for as players. Price fluctuates quickly, and it's not always about what they average at the start, or across the whole year, I should say. It's about what they average in your side. So guys like Steele, he can have a horrific start, but if he can turn around and find form like he is at the moment, then he's going to be a guy that we really should be looking at, because he's going to be cheap as chips. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's recap on the Saturday games tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.